Hey everyone, I'm Louie. My dog William and I have been living in a van off and on for a little over 2 years now. So far, we have adventured through 21 states and 3 Canadian provinces. We've climbed, hiked, and have met a bunch of awesome nomads along the way. After a few months break living in a house through the beginning of the pandemic, we have built out a whole new van and hit the road again. This time, caravanning with my mom and her pup Lady. Thanks for watching and subscribe to find out where we end up each week. Hey everyone, and welcome to my Q&A video. This is going to be one of the most basic Q&A videos ever, but I've always wanted to make a Q&A video ever since I started seeing people on YouTube make Q&A videos when I was younger, and I just feel like it's obligatory. And I also wanted to answer some of your questions to clear up any confusion about anything or answer any questions that you have about this lifestyle. I wanted to give y'all the opportunity to get to know me so that we can get closer, almost like we are hugging, but over the internet. That is my favorite thing about YouTube, is that it's this giant community of people with similar interests. Alright, so let's get started. I don't like really long intros when I watch Q&A videos, so we're just gonna get right to it. For all of this to make sense, if you've never seen any of my videos, my name is Louie. I live in this 1989 Ford Aerostar with my dog William, and we have been living in a van on and off for about 2 years now. Within that 2 years, I took a 6-month break from living in the van to live in Eugene, Oregon with my best friend, because we've always wanted to live together. So the opportunity came and I took it. So after being promptly evicted from the house that we were living in, I had this van. My mom and I traded vans, which I will touch more on in some of the questions that y'all asked. And I converted this out with the time I had left living in Eugene, Oregon. And now I live in a van again, with no plans to ever live in a house anytime soon. I think this is the lifestyle for me. After flipping back and forth between van and house life, I know this is for me, and I know that I'm in it for the long haul this time. So, first question I want to answer is, what did you do with your other built out van? So if you haven't been following along the past few months with what's been happening with the build out in this van, basically what happened was I was living in a house with my best friend, and my mom was concurrently wanting to do van life. So she had this van already that she was kind of living out of and starting to build out when I decided to move into this house. My van that I had before had a payment on it. My mom had tried to get a ProMaster too, but she wasn't able to get approved for financing. So one night we were just sitting in Maribel right before I moved to Oregon and talking about like the future and stuff, and what I was gonna do with the van while I was living in the house. And it just like clicked all of a sudden, and we were like, you know what? What if we just trade vans? So that's why I don't have the ProMaster anymore, and honestly I'm really happy that I could give that van to my mom and she was able to take over the payments. One, because financially I was not in a good place for me to have to pay on it every month. My mom works more than I do and makes more than I do, so I was happy for her to have a bigger space, and you know, she works really hard. She needs a van that has a little more space, and so that she doesn't have to worry about the mechanics of the engine and everything too. So I was really happy to be able to do that. And yes, we will be doing a tour of that van when she's done. There's a couple more things she needs to do to finish it, but it is getting there. We're really hoping to get the van tours up of both of these vans next month. I know it's a whole nother month, but I just want the vans to be in a state that can really show y'all what it can be like to complete a van. So it's coming up, I promise. That answers a question that someone else asked, which was, when are you gonna give us a van tour? And I promise you, I have it on my calendar and it will be up next month. How do you shower? Before the whole pandemic and everything, showering was not a problem at all. It was really easy to have a membership to Planet Fitness, whatever gym you wanted to be a part of, and go and shower. And with those being all over the country, I never had a problem finding a Planet Fitness and going to shower. But now that the pandemic is here and it is clear that it's not going anywhere, I have canceled my gym membership because I really do not want to risk it. And then also before pre-COVID, you were able to go to like campsites to go shower. You could most campsites will let you shower for like a certain fee. And then there's also like in places like Joshua Tree, there are so many van people and climbers and just people out and about camping that they have shower places where you can shower for like tourists and stuff. So that's what I would do before, or shower at a friend's house if I was visiting a friend. But now that we are in the era of the pandemic and it's seemingly not going to go anywhere anytime soon, the way I've been showering is using the spray nozzle with the hose on my sink to shower if I'm in the middle of nowhere and nobody's gonna watch me doing that. I've been using that and just quickly soaping up and rinsing off, which has been okay. And then for my hair, I've just been rinsing it in the sink. And then my mom also has a solar shower bag that we were using a lot when we were in the mountains because we could set up our little shower tent and then have the water out in the sun and we would just take quick showers and get clean. And then when I need to take a really full shower, recently my mom and I have decided that every month we want to stop either at a hotel or a campsite for a couple nights, depending on the weather in the place, and just so that we can clean the vans, get organized, and take a really good shower. So that's one way. Once a month I get a real clean. Other than that, it's mostly sponge baths and solar showers, which honestly, it's really not that hard to keep up with. I don't know, everybody has their preferences for how they stay clean, and I really just think that you don't need to shower as much as people say you need to shower. Like, you don't really need to every day if you're not dirty. All right, the next question is, will you ever travel to other states? And the answer is a resounding yes. I will definitely be traveling to other states. My mom and I have a whole route planned out for the next 6 months to a year, and we will be going all over pretty much the West Coast only. We're not really going to do the East Coast at the moment just because there are a lot of COVID hot spots out there. We just don't want to spread COVID, pick it up, and then spread it everywhere. So we're being really picky about where we go based off of what the numbers look like and the statistics, because we just want to be mindful of other communities. And when we do enter a new community, usually we're really trying not to do anything where we go out other than the grocery store or any other essential things in each town, because I just would hate to be the person who brings COVID to a town and just completely and make it more widespread in an area because I was being selfish. Now that I gave you that long roundabout answer, we will be visiting many more states. So far, we are going to go up to Washington, across through Idaho into Montana, and then we want to go down to Utah, and then possibly into Colorado, and then down to New Mexico and Arizona. So that's kind of our plan for the next year or so, maybe a little less than a year. We're going to spend the winter in the desert, which I'm so looking forward to. That's one of my favorite places to live in a van. All right, next question. What has been the hardest transition from your other van to this newer one? So in all honesty, I like this van better, and I'm not just saying that for the video. I love this van because it's more finished and I have more nice things in this van than I had in the other van. So I guess the hardest transition for me is probably getting used to driving around an old vehicle. One, because it's really loud, and two, because I have to always be aware of the engine and know that there might be a time where something breaks and I just have to accept it and figure out how to solve the problem. So I think that is something that's been the hardest transition into this van. I think another thing is setting up and putting away the bed every night. It has its pros and cons. One good thing about it is that it's kind of like making your bed every morning, and so it's like putting your mind into this train of thought where it's like, okay, we're getting up, we're gonna be productive. William, I'm trying to film a video right now. But on the other hand, it's super annoying. Not gonna lie. That's the only thing about a small space, and if you have a bed that you have to put away, make and put away every day and every night. Super annoying. Come on, Louie, think here. Like, there's gotta be something else. Mildly, another thing that is really hard about transitioning is really just how little and how much I've had to work through getting rid of stuff and accepting that I have less stuff and accepting, oh, you know what's been different about living in this van? People judge me a lot more for living in this van than they did for living in the ProMaster. I mean, obviously, because it's, you know, a nicer, newer van versus this van, Coco, which is older and which I personally think looks super cool. It's unique, it's different, and like nobody has this van really. Like not too many people have this van. It's not like I like it, but I think that it might just be in my head, but sometimes I do feel like I'll get stuff out of this van and people look at me like either they feel sorry for me or they're just like disgusted by me because I live in a smaller, just like dirtier van. And it's like, well, you know, that's been an interesting transition. It's definitely made me have to look inward and be more confident about who I am and know that who cares what anybody thinks. Like, I'm happy living in this van. I get to see things that a lot of people don't get to see. So there's trade-offs in this, and I just have to remind myself of that a lot. That's been a really long-winded answer, but that is my answer to that question. Yes. And as honest terms as I could give. Ooh, I like this next question. What's your dream build? Right off the top, want to say I freaking love this van. I tried to make the dreamiest build I could make with what I had, but money aside and any boundaries I have to getting any van in the world aside, there are three vans that I really think are cool, and they're all 4x4. I think if I sell this van and get a different van, it has to. Actually, no, there's 4 different types of vehicles that I really like. One is the Toyota Delicata. I don't know how to pronounce it. I love that van because it's 4x4. It's tiny, but it's so cute. And it can take you where you need to go in style. I think having a 4x4 short school bus would be really cool because that's like a ton of space, but it's 4x4. If I was trying to go for a more expensive build, I really like 4x4 Sprinters because they're fancy. Yeah, like those are really, really fancy. But I don't know if realistically, if I would ever do that. Just because I feel like I would want something a little more unique. And then if we're talking high price, really cool van, I don't know if you can consider it a van. I really like Unimogs, and I think those are cool because they're all 4x4. So basically anything 4x4 is my dream van because I like to get out on back roads and I don't really want to have to worry about my whole house being destroyed or stuck somewhere. If I could have any van in this world, it would be a 4x4. This is from my college buddy Maya. She said, "Why are you so amazing?" I love her so much. I hope you're doing well, Maya, and if you're watching this, I love you. But then she said, "And also, how are you keeping cool temp-wise, but also because you are?" Wink. Maya, you're great. Thanks for asking the question. Basically, the way you stay cool is you follow the weather, and that's basically what my mom and I have been doing. We've been following the weather reports, and whenever there is weather that is above 90 usually in the area that we currently are, we go hunt for a spot. We try to go the direction of cooler weather, which is currently what we're doing. We're going north. It's going to start to get cold again soon, and then that's when you go south. So you basically just go in a circle, up and down in latitude or in elevation. Elevation's really good for keeping cool. And then when you want to be warmer, you go to the desert, which is what we're going to do this winter. Which it kind of is nice to have sort of a schedule or some boundaries for where you can go, because we can go anywhere and it's like, well, how do you choose? So weather is definitely something that we follow, and we're very privileged to be able to move around when we need to. There's a lot of people who live in vehicles who aren't able to do that because of work or because they have family obligations or things like that, so they can't move around and they have to deal with it. Another way to mitigate some of the hot weather. Some people have ACs in their vans. I'm not sure if those are worth it or not. That's how you do it in the heat. And in the cold, a good way to mitigate some of the cold is to either use a propane heater, which a lot of people think is dangerous to have in a small space, and I agree. If you're not careful, it can definitely be dangerous. Or what I'm gonna do in this van, hopefully, is put in a cubic mini stove somewhere over here and put that in there and use little tiny like compressed logs to heat up the van. So that's still in the works, but that's how I hope to stay warm. All right, and the next question we got is, how do you decide where to go next? And let me tell you, I honestly have no idea. No, I think the best way is to follow, the best way that I've decided to where I want to go is just like kind of following my heart. And like, other than the weather, I've been using national park books a lot to kind of explore what national parks I want to go to and kind of base where I want to go off of that, and then just head towards that area and explore that area and surrounding cities for a while. Or sometimes I decide where to go based on if I want to see friends or family. So it's usually all up in the air. Weather plays a big part, but so does just following your heart, and like whatever biome I feel like going to usually is what determines it. Sorry if you hear snoring in the background, that is William. I've been getting so many questions about how I make money, and this is just like kind of a complicated answer. I do a lot of media work for clients through my mom's business, which is a virtual assistance business, and I do things like podcast editing, website building, soon to be video editing, I hope, for other people, and social media stuff. There's a lot of social media stuff in there. So that's one way I make, probably half of my income. And then I make a little money from YouTube, and that helps. I mean, really, my budget is very, very low. Yeah, that's how I make money, doing that. And then these haven't started making money yet, but I'm working with my mom on a couple projects. We are starting a podcast. This is the first time I'm talking about it on this channel, but we are working on it. It's kind of hard to get that all done in between everything that we're doing, but it's basically a mom-daughter podcast about traveling. We have 3 episodes up right now. I'm trying to work on the quality of the sound recording. It's really hard to record in vans and get like the sound quality you need, so that needs some improvement, but we're getting there. We have 3 episodes up already. Just waiting for those to get on to Apple Podcasts before we really start talking about it really openly. But if you want to check those out, plug. They're not up to the quality I want yet, but that is something we are going to continue. My mom and I are also working on an e-commerce business right now, starting that up. I don't really want to talk about the details of it too much because we're still in the process of getting it together, but that is something that we are working on right now, and that is another way to make money. So my best advice for making money on the road, if you're wondering, is to diversify what you do and take the skills that you have already and turn them into something that can make money. Because ultimately, when you're on the road and you have to work, you want to be doing something that you enjoy doing. And I think that's true in life too. So I hope that answered your question. All right, this next question I really like. It's, do you hope to find van buddies / caravan with people? I know I do. And yes, I do. When I was living in Maribel, I was a lot better about getting out there and meeting people, but because of the pandemic and stuff, it's kind of like a gray area in terms of like how I want to go about like meeting people and meeting up with people. I think it's definitely possible to do it safely now, but I just haven't put a lot of thought into it. But yes, I would love to caravan with many people and meet lots of people who live in vans, because it's just so fun getting together with other people who like live this lifestyle and who understand and who get it, and like that's really fun. And I think it gets to a point, I think towards the end of living in Maribel, I was getting to a point, like another thing I was really happy about to live in a house in a city was to be able to get to be with community again. But of course the pandemic happened, so that kind of messed that up. But it made me realize that it is very possible to find community within van life, people like you. And especially since it's growing so much and the diversity within van life is a lot greater than it used to be, we are able now to find people like us and can relate better with people who are nomadic and on the road. So I want to meet more people. I'm going to probably give it a couple more months before I really start to branch out, because I want to be respectful of people's health and safety, but soon. Yeah, I just want to make trouble with people. We're getting towards the end of the questions. All right, the next question is, are you reading any books at the moment? And if I'm being honest, I am not currently reading anything. What was the last thing I read? Yeah, your girl's uneducated. No, I've been so busy. I haven't really been reading anything, but I'm gonna start reading. My mom just got an audiobook, the audiobook version of Kindred by Octavia Butler, and I want to listen to that while we're driving. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. If you have any good book recommendations that are super long that I can find audiobook versions of for when we're driving, definitely leave them below. All right, so I have 2 more questions. If you're still with me on this video, thank you for sticking around. I got 2 more questions. The first of the final 2 are, so curious if you chose a specific phone/data plan for coverage, or if you have encountered any challenges with it. So yes, my mom and I have encountered a lot of challenges with it. So I have 30 gigs of data through AT&T, and it does not last the whole month usually. And my mom has Verizon, she has 30 gigs, so we kind of just like flop between our 2 depending on where there's service. And I have to say, it can be complicated. Sometimes you get really lucky in nature areas, and that's the best. It works for the most part. I've never been in a place where I haven't been able to get my work done. Yeah, I upload a lot of YouTube videos that are like gigabyte sized, so multiple gigabyte size, so it really does eat up my data. We are working on getting a booster and possibly getting one more line on my mom's Verizon network in order to have a little more data. So yeah, there are challenges, and we do experience low bandwidth when there's a lot of people around in one specific nature area, because everybody's eating up chunks and percentages of it, so it makes everything load a lot slower. The life of a freelancer is just waiting to load it, in the words of Toro Imoa. And our last question. I might be too late, but my 2 questions are, what do you do for your remote job? And are you available for any type of consultations for build questions or anything like that? So I answered the first one before, and honestly, if y'all ever have any questions about van builds or anything, hit me up on my Instagram, hit me up on YouTube, whatever you have to do to get my attention and ask a question. I'm super happy to help answer any questions that people have about their own build outs. If you just want some reassurance about what you're doing in terms of a build, then definitely hit me up. I do not do it professionally, but I'm super happy to answer any questions, and even if they're long and complicated ones, I will help you troubleshoot. That is why I'm here. That is why I have created this channel. I am trying to create a cult. Just kidding. But I am trying to make this stuff more widely available and more authentic, and I just want these videos to show y'all that van life can be way more authentic and real and more community-based than what it presents itself as being in the mainstream. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. I'm super glad that I finally got to make a Q&A. I've always wanted to make a Q&A. If you have any questions that have spurred from these questions, or if you didn't get to ask questions on my Instagram account, definitely leave your questions below, and I will either make another Q&A or just answer them directly. I hope this has helped you get to know me a little better, and William, say bye, William. It is Paul. If you like day in the life videos and you want to watch some day in the life videos, click here. I have a playlist of them, and if you want to see some documentation of this van build, then click here and watch this playlist. Alright, thank you for watching, and I'll see ya later. Bye!